Hello, testing 1 2 3. Boleh nampak kan? Boleh nampak, boleh dengar? Clear kan semua?
Okay. Yang benar. Fairkan lagi atau tidak? Fairkan. Bạn你们的 license 应该是在里面的，除非你的 license 没有在里面呢。嗯。
I think I will start now. Okay, I think Nina, I will start now. Whoever joining us late, so I think okay. So I will proceed with the webinar. Good morning, everyone. Selamat Hari Raya for those celebrating Hari Raya, and welcome to another SynchroWeb Academy webinar. My name is Koyum. Okay, and today our topic, another MikroTik topic. Okay, one of the sub modules in MikroTik features. So today we will cover on user manager. Okay, maybe some of you didn't know what is user manager, so I will I will brief you on what is user manager and how can you use user manager. Okay, and so let us go through the slide. Okay, my course outline for today. I will guide you on how to install user manager, and we focus on Hotspot for user manager. Okay, I will let you know what are other features of user manager if you're not using Hotspot. But for today, we only focus on Hotspot. Again, how you can configure the user manager, how you can create your user and your profile, and then how to do the landing page and create the voucher for user access. Okay, so this is the course outline. So my objective is that you know you have a clear idea on what is user manager and you know how to use the user manager. Okay, all right, so I will just skip this one about MikroTik. I think this one is no need for today. I'll just skip. Okay, okay, we go to the user manager. Okay, so user manager basically is a centralized software where you can control user access. So it's not only used for hotspot, but mostly people use it for hotspot. Okay, so you want to have a hotspot network in your premise. All right, you want user to connect to the wired or wireless internet, but you want to authenticate them, so you can use a user manager. Okay, not only hotspot. If you are using tunneling, you use PPP tunneling, you want only certain people who have the credential to log in and use the tunnel. You can also apply user manager to the PPP users. Also, if you want to control whoever log into your router, to the MikroTik router, also you can use user manager. All right, wireless also can, or you can also use for DHCP server. Okay, so there are many function of user manager as I described just now, but the most favorite thing that people use for user manager is hotspot. So basically, user manager is extra packages in the router OS. Okay, so if you have a MikroTik router, you will see under the packages. If you go to your MikroTik router, you go under system packages. By default, there is no user manager packages in here. So by default, tak ada. So if you plan to use the user manager packages, you need to download from the MikroTik website. Okay, it is free. It is tak payah bayar, no license needed. But you need to make sure you downloaded the same architecture for your router. Okay, because user manager can be used for all router board. Okay, you if you doesn't matter, you use HAPAC, you use RB1100, you use CCR, so you can use user manager. But then you need to take note, you download the same architecture of user manager based on your router architecture. So how you check your router architecture is you check for under system, you go to your router board. Sorry, you go to your system, you go to resources. Okay, so you need to check your architecture here, architecture name. So if your MikroTik router is using ARM architecture, so you go to the MikroTik website, you download User Manager for ARM architecture. All right, so you download. Later I show you how to download the User Manager. Okay, so this is how you check for your User Manager packages. Okay, so User Manager. So why you use User Manager? Because it is free. So definitely you don't need extra external radius servers, but it is user radius. So if you want to use free radius, so you can use User Manager. But you need to take note that since it is free, it has some limitation. All right. So the other limitation, I'll show you later the limitation. It is based on licensing. So it running on Radius punya protocol. So if you know Radius, so User Manager is a Radius server. So Radius server is remote authentication that in user survey. So dia akan centralizekan this User Manager as a Radius server. Dia akan centralizekan you punya triple A, which is you punya authentication, authorization and accounting. So whoever wants to log in, so dia akan authorize, dia akan authenticate, dia akan authorize and do accounting for the reporting. Okay, so this is Radius server in general. So User Manager is a Radius server. Okay, and your MikroTik will be the Radius client. Okay. All right. So, what Redis server can do, so you can have a centralized authentication. So, like I said, if you do the hotspot, so you want to authenticate user, whoever is using hotspot, they want to use internet, they need to log in. So, for them to log in, they will request username password, and then as a Redis server, the user manager will create the username and password for the user, and then the user can log in, can authenticate and authorized by the Redis server. All right, so that's how the Redis server works. Okay, same goes if you're using PPP. If you want the user to log into your Winbox, okay, the same thing. Okay, so this is basically in general. Okay, all right, so this is how it works. So in terms of the back-end communication, so this is how the communication goes. Okay, you have a Redis client, it will be your MikroTik router, and then you will have a Redis server. All right, the Redis server, the user manager you can install on the same MikroTik router, or you can install on another VM also, no problem. Okay, so what you will do is the user will request access request to the Redis client. You will request username password. So when the Redis server give the username password, user key in the username password, and then if the request is accept, so Redis server will return to the user accept, and then the user can continue log in. Okay, so this is the flow of Redis server and Redis client. Okay, I think this one is very clear. Okay, so Radius client is the router OS. Okay, so you don't need require option package. Okay, no need license. So you can ask authentication any standard Redis server. Okay, so it is free. Okay, so this is where you set up the Redis client in your MikroTik. So if I show you the MikroTik, so this is where you set up the Radius server. Okay, so if you are using user manager, so you need to add in the user manager IP address and the secret. Okay, so depending on the type, if you're using hotspot, so you tick hotspot. All right, if you use user manager for user who wants to log into your Winbox, so you use login. All right, if you want to use PPP, you can use PPP. Okay, so several services that you can do with the Radius server. Okay, it also apply for any third party server, not only a user manager. Okay, if you have an external Radius server, also you can use all these services. Okay, all right. So this is one. Okay, Redis client. So how Redis client work? Router wise will be the local user database first, and then we ask for Redis server. Okay. So if you don't have a Redis server, so if you are using hotspot, let's say you don't have a Redis server, so the authentication will be on the local database, which will be the local hotspot user in the MikroTik. So if you go to hotspot, if you already create a user here, so it will check on the user here before it goes to the radius server. All right. So if the user is not in the local hotspot, then it will check if you have radius. So it will do authentication from the radius. Okay. So there are two types of authentication in MikroTik. All right. So it will check the local first, and then if the local is not there, it will check on the radius server. Okay. All right. So that's how. Okay. Okay, the user manager packages. So you must install the optional packages. Let me just show you. I just keep okay requirement. You can install in any router board. Okay, doesn't matter, but you need to take note. The hardware spec. Okay, at least you have a 32 MB RAM and 2 MB free space, because when you have a user manager installed in your MikroTik router, the database backup will consume your hard disk space in your MikroTik router. So if you have many you have many users, you have and you do, for example, daily backup, so definitely it will consume your hard disk space in your MikroTik router. So depending on how many hotspot user you plan to have, then you need to check on which model suitable for you. Okay, but it also depends on your licensing. Okay, so if you plan to have, let's say, a hotel environment, okay, so you don't use the level 5 and below for your hotspot user manager. Okay, so you use level 6. Okay, so if you are using level 5, the other limit 5 only active session, which mean under active here, user hotspot under active, you have maximum log in. You HAPAC, the small router, also not suitable to have user manager. You can, but it's not suitable because the database backup will consume your resources. Okay, if you check on your resources and the system resources, so you take note that the hard disk is very important when you have when you have a user manager installed. Okay, so sorry, you take note on the memory and the hard disk. Okay, so you take note on that. Okay. All right. So that's the requirement to have a user manager. All right. Later I show you the web interface. Let me just go through how you can install the user manager. Okay. So the first thing you need to do. Okay. Let me just skip this one to how the steps to use. Okay. So the first thing you need to do to have a user manager installed. First, I'm assuming you already know how to set up the basic MikroTik connectivity lah. So you know already how to set up the IP addresses, the gateway, the route. So I'm assuming you know that one. So I've just skipped to the hotspot part. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is for hotspot, you need to create a hotspot interface. Okay, just I give you an example. Let's say I have this MikroTik. I would like to run hotspot on Ether 2, for example. So I just label Ether 2 as hotspot punya interface. Okay, and then I need to create a network on Ether 2. So I go to IP addresses. I create one network for my hotspot user. All right. For example, or you can skip this one first. You just go to IP hotspot. Okay, you go to the first tab under servers here. So you need to create a hotspot server setup. So you just click this wizard here. So you choose the interface you want to run the hotspot. So now I want to use Ether number 2. So I click next. Then I create the hotspot network segment for my hotspot user. Alright, so I want to use this default. You can change, doesn't matter, you can change. And then you click next. And then I create pool. So by default, dia akan bagi this pool because you're using /24. Alright, so you have this one. You can change or you can change later. If you want to change the pool or you want to add more pool, you can add. Okay, alright, so you click next. Certificate, if you have certificate, you upload your certificate. If no, you just leave it as default, which is none. Next, okay, you just ignore the SMTP server because you're not using, so just click next. DNS server, you can put DNS server. For example, I put 88.4.4, and then I click next. DNS name, this one is for the gateway, so you just put one. You can either put, let's say, hotspot.login, for example, so it will hide the gateway for the hotspot server. Okay, or you can leave it empty, also doesn't matter. Okay, so next. Okay, this one is the local hotspot. Remember, I mentioned to you, you have two types of authentication, which is from the local database and from the radius. So this one is the default local database. So you can just ignore, you just next. Okay. And then under the user here, the default one, you can either leave it maybe for your super user, or you just ignore, you just delete, disable or delete. Okay, so now you have hotspot running on Ether 2. Okay, it is red because I need to put addresses. Addresses are already there. It is red because I'm not connected to Ether number 2. Okay, so now the addresses will automatically add in your address list. So your gateway, user gateway will be 10.5.50.1, and user will be getting hotspot IP. If you go to IP pool, okay, so this is the pool that user will get. So they will get from 2 to 254, the DHCP pool. Okay, someone is joining. Okay, so if you want to change the pool, you can just change the pool. Okay, you want to make it static only, okay, you can do that. Okay, so this is your hotspot setup. Okay, all right, so you have this hotspot setup, and then what you need to do is you need to enable radius. So since you want to use user manager, you need to enable radius. So what you do is you go to your server profile, you double click on the profile that you created, okay, and then you go to radius, you enable use radius. Okay, so this is how you do. And the login, usually even if you're using third party radius server, they're using depending on the radius server, but mostly are using HTTP PAP. If you want to enable cookie, you can enable. If you want to enable make cookie, also you can enable make cookie. So what make cookie and cookie means is that if you want the user no need to re-log in on the second time. Okay, so you can enable make cookie. So for example, hotspot user, they connected for the second time, they don't see the landing page anymore, so they don't need to key in the username and password anymore, so they will directly go to the internet without need to key in the username and password. So same, this one is make cookie, it will save the user MAC address with the username and password, also the HTTP cookie. All right, so depends on how you want it to be. So you can have the HTTP cookie or the MAC cookie. Okay, so usually I don't want that, so I just use HTTP PAP, and then you enable the radius. Okay, so you enable the radius. Then the next one is you need to add the user manager packages. Okay, so what you need to do is you go back to MikroTik website. you go to software. Okay. Okay, you check since my RB is ARM architecture. I need to check for ARM. Okay, so this is my architecture for RB1100. So I download extra packages, but I need to take note on the version. All right, so I'm using version 6.4, 6.6. So I need to find 6.4, 6.6. So I need to go to the archive, the older one, archive 6.1. Let me check. Okay, download archive because my version is slightly older. 6.46, 6.46. Not long term. I'm using stable. Okay, so this is my version 6.4, 6.6. So I need to go here and I download. You can use the you find the ARM one. So I go to all packages, architecture. So I download this one. Okay. So I extract my packages. Okay. Okay. So you will see here there is user manager packages here. Okay, so what you need to do is you go back to your MikroTik. You go to file, so you can FTP masuk you punya user manager, so you just can or you can drag and drop into file. So bila you drag and drop, dia akan upload. So you will see your packages is here. Alright, so what you need to do is you need to reboot the router for the packages to be inside your packages here. Right, you see here packages. So I already have the user manager, but I disabled. Okay, so after you reboot, you will see your user manager packages will be inside your package list. So this is how you install the user manager. Okay, after you reboot your router, you will see these packages. So let me just enable my user manager. All right. So I need to reboot system, reboot. Okay, now my MikroTik is up. So if I connect to my MikroTik again, so I'll see my user manager packages is there. So now you already have the user manager. So what you need to do is you need to enable the Radius client. Since in your hotspot you are using Radius, okay, you're using Radius, so you need to enable the Radius client. Okay, so you need to add a new Radius client on a Radius server. So you are using for hotspot, okay, and then addresses you can use a loopback IP, or you can use for I didn't connect my MikroTik to a network, but for example I can just use my WAN, for example just my WAN on port number 192.168.0.2, for example. All right, if I connected to my network, Okay, so click apply. So my radius, I just assume that my radius server will be this MikroTik. Okay, because I installed in this MikroTik. So my radius server address will be my WAN, MikroTik WAN IP. So 168.0.2. And then the protocol is UDP, and then you create one secret because later you will use this secret in the user manager. Okay, for example, I set ABC 123. All right, just for example. So I apply. All right, and then you enable the incoming COA radius incoming. All right, so you can apply. Okay, so that's it. That's how you enable the packages, the user manager packages in your MikroTik router, and how you add the radius server secret into your MikroTik router. Okay, so now you need to go to your radius user manager interface to enable the communication between your Redis client, which is on MikroTik, to the user manager radius. Okay, so how you log into your user manager radius interface is you just type in the IP/userman. Okay, this is how you do it. Okay, so this is how you do it. So is this the IP and slash userman? Let me just show you one example I have here. Okay, all right. This is one of the user manager that I successfully installed before. So this is the page on how you log into your user manager. So you need to type the IP, the Redis server IP slash userman. So it will come out this main page. Okay, and then you log in. All right, by default, it doesn't have a password. Okay, it will follow your router OS password. So you can set it later for your password, and then you log in. Okay, so when you log in, you can see you guys having problem listening to me or sangkut-sangkut lah ke clear? Okay, kalau you don't understand anything, you just speak and let me know kalau I sangkut kat mana-mana. Alright. So this is the main page of your user manager. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to add the MikroTik router inside the user manager, because you need to have a two-way communication between your Radius client, which is your MikroTik router, and then the user manager, the server. So you need to add. So you need to go to routers, and then you need to add your router. Okay, so how you add is you click add new, and you put a name, your router name, for example. IP address will be your MikroTik IP address, the WAN IP address, and then the secret key, the same shared secret. Okay, so let me just show you this MikroTik. I have this one. Where is it? Okay, this one. Okay, this is the MikroTik used for this user manager. So so you see here, I have the WAN addresses. Okay, I have the WAN addresses 0.209. Okay, so my user manager. Okay, so I have this one. So my radius, so I add a radius with the secret. Okay, so the user manager also is the same, the IP address and the secret. So this is how you add your router into your user manager. So it should be the same secret and the same IP address. Okay, so now you have a communication between your user manager and your MikroTik router. Okay, from there you start creating your user profile for your hotspot, and then you create your user. So you take note, there are some terms here. For example, here you see, here is users and here is customers. Okay, since user manager is used not only for hotspot, so some customers is uh, the admin user. All right, if you have several profile managing your user manager, so you will consider as customer, but your hotspot user will be hotspot here, so don't get confused. So if you want to create a user for your hotspot user, so it will generate a username password, or you can generate randomly username password. All right, so you can do that, but first basically you just create a profile. All right, so you can create a profile. All right, so if we want to do limitation on your profile, all right, for example here guest profile, so you can put limitation on the download and upload. All right, okay, you can put also the rate limit on the speed limit, so you can put. All right, so this one is the quota, and then this one is the speed. So you can set up speed, rate limit, and burst rate, so you can put that one. All right, so you can create a profile for your guest. Okay, so once you have already created a profile for your guest, then you can create your user. Okay, you can create manually one by one. All right, so you want to create one username and password, you can just create one username and password. All right, and password you can set any password. Okay, and then you attach that profile, then you click add. Okay, or you can create also in batch. Okay, if you want to run in batch, so numbers of users, so it will generate depending on the quantity, for example 40, so it will generate, but you need to set prefix, right? For example gas, so it will have a prefix gas. All right, password length, and then if you want to make the username length, and then if you want to make the password the same as the username, so you enable this one. So this is how you generate your hotspot user in batch. Again, you assign the profile. If you have multiple profile, you can select the profile. All right, so it will generate this random username and password, so you can use this random. You can print out, or you can manually give this username and password for your user to log in. All right, because once they connected to the hotspot, they will get a landing page for them to key in the username and password. So if you see here, this is the default username and password page for them to log in. So they need to get the username and password from the user manager administrator. Right, so this is how you create. So this one is the pre-generated one. All right, the generate in batch, and then you can also design the landing page. All right, so if you don't want it to be something default like this, okay, you can do this one. It should be under setting here. All right, you can have this template here. All right, so you can create HTML coding to have your own design of the landing page. If you check on my MikroTik forum, I think a few people they share the coding so that it will not be as default as this one. So you can change. You can put images, logo. So for example, this side, I even change the logo here. All right, by default the logo here is MikroTik logo, so I change the logo to the site logo. All right, you can change the logo. Even I also change the logo for the front page here. I change the logo, so you can do that also. Okay, all right, and then also when you want to print out, let's say generate, okay, vouchers. If I want to generate vouchers, I want to print out vouchers. Sorry, let's say I select a few. All right, so this is how you print out your voucher. So if you want to export to CSV also you can for raw data. If you want it to show in voucher printing, so I have this one is template that I use. So I click here. Okay, so let me just download. I don't need to download. If I click generate here. Okay. So this one is I customize from the setting here. All right. So I customize from the setting here. So I have this template that I use for the voucher printing. So the voucher printing, we show something like this. So dia dah print out the username and password and then dia ada logo here. Okay. So dia akan beritahu information and then I can put some information on how to use the browser. Okay, so this is how you can do, because if you don't have the template, the default dia akan jadi something like this. I go back to users. So generate. So this one is my template. This one is CSV. If default dia akan jadi so this is default. Okay. So this is default. You print one by one, you give to your customer. Alright, but I have since I'm using template, so nampak lain lah. When you use template, you can see the different using the template and the default one. Alright, so you can customize. Okay. So this is how you customize your voucher printing. But dia akan keluar in A4, but then you potong lah, you potong one by one, give to your hotspot user. Okay, alright. And then okay, you besides that, you can check on the log. Okay, user IP, what time they log in, they log out. Okay, you can check more report. You can generate reports. Okay, advances, you want to search for that username. Okay, other than that, you have maintenance. Alright, so dia ada auto backup. So you take note backup dia tu. So dia akan makan you punya resources. So macam ini dah pakai dah habis pakai. So I need to clear some space dalam my MikroTik router. Alright, so usually I akan delete lah. So if dia dah backup yang lama-lama, I delete, just I leave the latest one. Okay, or I just always I take from the files here. So I akan take out, put somewhere else, external hard disk ke, then I delete yang dalam sini. Okay, alright. Other than that, nothing else. You can see the live session, so you can see the user live session, the uptime, the download, upload, okay, their MAC address, so you can see here. Then report setting, profile, yeah. You can also, I think this one is advanced. I also never tried this one also. You can also use for paid Wi-Fi, right? So you can sell Wi-Fi also, so you can integrate with PayPal and authorize.net. Okay, also you can also enable registration. If you want user to register, you can ask them to register, all right? So you can try to look up in the MikroTik forum if got people share on how to do this payment gateway and sign up. Okay. Yep, I think that's about it about user manager. Anything you want to ask, you can ask me now. Will we get the slider after that? Okay, yes, I will give you the slide after this. Okay. Anything you want to ask about user manager? Okay. I'll just focus on the hotspot part because I think most people are using hotspot for user manager. Anything you want to ask? It is the same as the keywire. You can, okay, keywire is the external radius server. So user manager, you can the same architecture, which is radius server, but user manager is built-in and free from MikroTik. So you tak perlu nak beli apa extra apa, you tak payah nak beli. But dia punya as you can see, the setup it's very simple. So if you don't need you tak perlu advanced reporting, you don't want any complicated customization or integration, so you nak simple, save cost, then you go for this built-in Redis server. Alright, so tapi very limited lah features. Okay, but if you want advanced punya Redis server and captain portal yang a lot of thing you can do, then you go for other third party Redis server. And then for this case example is Keywire lah, from Syncroware is Keywire. Okay, yeah, so that one. So similar thing, different in term of dia punya features. Alright, so free you go for user manager. Right, you nak the better one, you go for other third party. Okay. Right. Okay, if no question, I think that's all from me. Thank you for listening. If you didn't understand, you want to understand more, you just can you can contact us after this. I'll try to guide you if you have any problem. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you for attending my webinar. We'll see you on the next webinar session. All right, thank you. Bye.